Well, no, I need some people ready. I need some people standing up here. Someone that can talk about that's comfortable public speaking. What happens when you go take the test? How early you have to be there? Those kind of things. Just two. Okay. Will, sit down. Brian's coming. Will, sit down. Brian, come here. I want the people that took it 6 to 8 times.
I took it 4.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
okay,
Paul,
maybe.
Paul,
7.
would you get up there and say something? You want to get up there?
I only have round of applause. That's awesome.
When is the first time you took the test?
You want to get up there?
Hey, Mr. Kimbrough, when was the first time I took my test? Like a month or 2 after I signed up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Had to be.
Now, I don't know that we want to post.
The people that failed the test, we're not going to do that.
Well, what it's probably not helpful for them to say, well, I had to take the test 7 times.
No.
Yeah. Never gonna. That's not going to be in here. This is all
Preparation.
positive.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and I realize this. Have you heard the thing that your brain can't focus on the don't or the do or don't? So they only focus on the subject. So if you have your kids and they're walking on a dock with water around it and you say don't fall in, they're probably going to fall in. But if you say stay on the dock, they're likely to stay on the dock. Because the do or don't, your brain can't process. It focuses on the activity. So that's, you got to be, when we talk about this, everything is going to be the activity. No, I can't, no, I won't, no, I didn't, unless it's positive. So, because as they're watching this, they're going to pick up on those. You're not going to realize it, and neither will they, but they will pick up on it.
Subconscious.
Right. Most powerful thing you have is your subconscious, whether you know it or not. And then the squirrel syndrome. Okay. So, keeps me grounded.
All right, go ahead.
So,
But off camera,
I want to get up there
tell us?
too.
yeah.
I want to get up there and say something too, so go ahead.
We'll turn it on and then
It's
walk.
already recording.
Oh, good. Well, then we'll edit it.
Is that what that red light?
Wait a minute, the camera's not on.
It's on. It's recording.
Okay.
It is.
Sure.
Okay, welcome back. What we are going to talk about now is what to expect when you actually get to the Pearson VUE Testing Center. Because if it's your first time going, it can be a pretty daunting experience. Couple things you need to know. You need to be there not on time, but a half an hour early. And then we've got a couple people that have agreed to come up here and kind of share what to expect. So since I'm on camera and my cameraman walked away, I'm going to come around the podium. And they're probably not going to be able to see me because the camera's angled right here. Oh, it's fine? Okay, good. All right, Dustin, would you come in? This is Dustin Woods. He's an associate here in our St. Louis marketplace. And Dustin, just give us a couple of things to expect when you go in and physically take the test. What's involved?
Okay, well first you have to come to the counter and you have to bring 2 forms of ID. I suggest your driver's license, social security number, or your social security card, that's what I did, or your passport or whatever. 2 forms of ID, they'll run your information, confirm that you have an appointment, then they're going to go over their rules. They got like a page of rules, you have to read it, agree to it, and then you have to then go to your right. The place that I went to is the South Burton location.
And there's locations everywhere,
Yeah.
so don't worry about those types of things.
Yeah.
But mainly what you're saying is you got to be there, you got to have 2 forms of ID, you have to be there early, half an hour early, right? And good, and we've got a couple other people. Thank you, Dustin, I appreciate it. We've got a couple other people. Mr. Brian Smith has agreed to share some specific information in his specific experience. So go ahead. What should you expect?
Well, one of the things too is I wouldn't bring a whole lot of things with you, because everything you have in your pockets, your watch, your ring, your wallet, you're going to need to put into a locker and lock it up. So that's one thing, I wouldn't bring a whole lot of stuff with you. The other thing is it's a very strict and methodical process. So, you know, everybody's got to be quiet. You've got to act like a professional, and you're going to, you know, be taken right along
Through the ringer.
Through the ringer, yes.
Perfect. Okay, good. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. And now we've got one of the executive directors in our marketplace, Mr. Jason Lacavoli. Jason, go ahead and share your experience of what to expect taking the test.
Okay, first of all, the 2 forms of ID that they make you bring, you do have to put into a locker, which they provide you the lock for. So that's kind of a daunting task, and then it's a very cold environment. There's other people taking other types of exams, which are multiple hours for them, so the stress level is just in the room. Just kind of know that that's going to be there. The second thing is they do give you a scratch piece of paper, and my suggestion is, you know, when you first actually get to sit down, take your pencil and jot down as much information as you can to get it out of your brain, because you can do that. You know, they give you that option. So to get some of those days, maybe some definitions that you know you struggled with while you were studying was crucial for me. And then to be able to skip through those questions, you know, if number one stumps you, don't get caught up on that. Just skip and go to the next one, because you'll probably know half the questions. They'll be easy. The other half, you know, a certain percentage of them you'll struggle with. So skip those ones, you know, don't get caught up on those. You can always come back to them. You have plenty of time if you go through and answer the ones you know. If you get caught up on the one you don't, and you spend 30 minutes wondering if you got it right, you're gonna kind of struggle with the time. So those are some of my suggestions.
Awesome, thank you so much. Now, they brought up some good points, but let's kind of fill in any blanks that may be there. How much time, guys, how much time do you get to actually take the test?
1 hour.
You get 1 hour to take the test. Now, for those of you that have never taken a professional test like this, and they said some things, some good tips, but I want to tell you, it can be an intimidating process, but don't let it. And let me tell you why. Because when you're taking the test, there's some things that you can do to make it very simple for yourself. Number one, like Mr. LaCavali said, is you want to go and you want to answer as many of the questions that you immediately know the answer to right away. So if you know the answer to question 1, answer it. If you don't know the answer to question 2, skip it. They will allow you to go back. And it's really important to know that when you're taking the test, there are going to be multiple right answers and multiple wrong answers. So what you want to do when you're taking the test, number one, is you want to eliminate anything that can't possibly be right. And then that leaves you with 2 answers that could be potentially right, 2 answers that could be potentially wrong. So I guess we should have brought that up. There are 4 answers to every question. So you want to make sure that you choose the best right answer. And you also want to understand who's asking the question. For example, there may be questions that are not applicable to Legal Shield, but are applicable to prepaid legal law. And that's another point. When you look at the test, everything's going to say prepaid legal. Nothing is going to say Legal Shield. And it's not because they haven't updated their information. It's because prepaid legal is an industry. Legal Shield is the leading company in that industry. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So when you go through, you got to understand who's asking the question. If they ask you a question that says, and I'm just going to throw out an example, if a insurance company, such as Legal Shield, fails to meet the requirements of the insured, and you're going through looking at that, you need to answer in prepaid legal terms, not Legal Shield terms. Okay? So for example, with Legal Shield, we're going to make the attorneys do the right thing. But in prepaid legal, it's up to the insurance company, if they don't do the right thing, to find another attorney that will. And that's going to kind of be what defines us and separates us from our competition, is the closed panel system that we'll get into a little bit later. But understand who's asking the question. It isn't Prepaid Legal Services, our former company. It is Prepaid Legal Industry nationwide. So, and as far as I don't know if we mentioned this, but as far as taking the test, you are going to get patted down. They are going to ask you to empty your pockets completely, pull your pockets inside out. And you just need to be prepared for that, because if you've never done that, it could be an uncomfortable situation. You're going to have to roll up your sleeves and just be prepared for the actual process of taking the test. And here's the last tip. They are not testing your knowledge of the information a lot of times. They're testing your ability to decipher the question and take the test. So, and that's where we go back to if you don't know the answer, move on. And so keep in mind too, the answer to the question that's being asked could be in the question down the road. So for example, if they say the director of insurance who does this, this, and this must, and there could be a series of answers. And if you don't know the answer, later on another question might be the director of insurance who does this, this, and this, the answer to your previous question also must. So it's going to give you, sometimes the answers are going to be in your questions down the road. So don't get hung up on answering every question. If you don't know, move forward. If you think you know, there's the ability to actually star the question and come back to it. So let's say you think the answer is B. Put B, star it, and then when you go through, you can go back and review those starred questions. Does that make sense? Anybody have any feedback that's actually taken the test to that? Yes?
I would actually suggest, getting there a half hour early or more, and take the information with you for the test material and review it so it's still fresh in your mind. Don't take it in with you. Maybe when you're in your car, just review it real quick. Some of the points that you're difficulty with, and then while it's fresh in your mind, just go in there and just keep reviewing it in your head until you get taking the test.
Perfect. Mr. Wakali.
One other thing that I had some people struggle with is trying to fit the test in right after work or in between doing other things, and you want to make sure you have at least a little bit of time to kind of focus on what you're doing and not try to fit it in on a certain day or a certain time.
Perfect. Good, good, good. Alice.
I'd say read the question carefully, because you might think, oh, this is what it says, but the word accept might be in there. And that
We're going to talk about the word accept. The question, and I don't know if you can hear Alice, but what she said was make sure you read the question carefully, because the question may say something like, all of the following are true except, or the director of insurance can do this, this, and this except. So the word accept changes the whole dynamics of the question, because if you think all of the following are true and you read the first one and it's true, you may just click A because you're looking for what's true. And we'll have more of those tips in the section when we wrap up, but we're going to go ahead and go to the next section.